How about them Tigers? Tell me that you have not ever watched a more entertaining, well under 500 ball club than the Tigers this past year. They started out the year so horrible. They were, 9 and 24 at one point after the first month of the season. And this last month and a half, this team has been playing where you can just see it. The rebuild is starting to take shape. This new Hinch regime, the team, it's just been an outstanding watch. So let's just jump right into it. And why I'm hyped. Today, the Tigers go off and they win in walk-off fashion, and they end up splitting the series with the Houston Astros. And I'm actually a little upset because the Astros came in after the Cardinals came in. It was a quick 2-game set. The Tigers actually swept the Cardinals. On Tuesday, they came in, and the Tigers blew them out. It was 8-2. And then the second game, Nolan Arenado actually finally did something this game. And shout out to my younger brother who watches all these videos. He went to the game on Tuesday to watch them, and he was really bummed because Arenado had an offer that game. It didn't do anything. Well, the second game, Nolan Arenado hits a home run, but the Tigers come and they take the series from the Cardinals. They sweep, which a weird thing about this team was, if you look at the previous week, we'll go into last week, I had said that I would be really surprised that the Tigers even took one game in Anaheim because they just play so bad there. Shohei Ohtani and Jared Walsh went off, and they did. They took the Sunday game. They won 5-3. So they had swept Kansas City, lost 3 of 4 to Anaheim. Then the Cardinals, now mind you, the Cardinals haven't been the best this year, but the Cardinals are still a formidable team. They have talent. They sweep the Cardinals. Now, preface, however you want to say it, Houston was on a 10-game win streak coming into the series against the Tigers. And the Tigers, being a fourth-place team, and them and the Royals have been fighting for the bottom of the division this past year, it didn't look like the Tigers were going to stand a chance in hell because the Astros have had, over the last 30 days, they've had 2 guys with OPSs over 900. They've had 4 guys with OPSs over 800. Their pitching staff has been really good. Their bullpen has been really good, but their offense has been outstanding. So game 1, Jose Urena again. The Tigers are going to have to do something about this. I went game by game by game. I was looking at it. So Urena had 3 straight starts of 7 innings and 2 or 3 runs or less. His last 3 starts, he hasn't gotten out of the third, and he's had at least 5 earned runs. The Tigers are going to have to do something. And what sucks is they really, I don't know what they're going to do, because with Spencer Turnbull out and Matt Manning taking his spot in the rotation, they're already thin in the starter area because now the kids are up. Manning's up, Mize is up, Scooble's up. So that's your big 3. They're all in the rotation. And now with Urena pitching really bad, there's really no other. You're going to put Daniel Norris in there, and he's not great. And now Michael Fulmer got hurt, and which sucks because I was really hoping that you put him in the bullpen and just tell him to pitch 1 inning at a time every other day, maybe 2 days or 3 days a week, 4 days a week. It would help save his arm and help him, from not getting hurt so much. Now he came off the 10-day IL. Blew his first save opportunity, got the second save opportunity. Now he got hurt again yesterday after the Tigers had a chance to take 3 of 4. So the Astros came into town on a 10-game win streak. They blow out Urena, had a twin bill on Saturday. They win the first game 3-1. Casey Mize, he's pitched extremely well. I bet you Casey Mize, against all American League starters, has one of the lowest ERAs against the Astros this year because he went into Houston and I think pitched 6 innings and got a win, and I think only allowed 1 or 2 earned runs. And again yesterday, he pitched 6 innings and only allowed 1 earned run. And he pitched outstanding because, mind you, it's 7-inning starts, and it's because it's a doubleheader rule. But game 2, so the Tigers take game 1, game 2. They're up in the 8th inning. It was perfectly set up. They had gotten 2 more runs. I forget how they got 2 more runs. It was Nomar Mazara got a big hit that game, and I want to say either Akil Baddoo has been really coming on. I was worried about him, and I haven't really talked about him much on this channel because I really haven't been a big believer of him or Eric Haas, because I've seen this story before. I've saw Matt Tuiasosopo's come and go, and Quentin Berry's guys who have good months, or Ronnie Rodriguez, they have a good month, and then they're just done. You know, Baddoo hits a home run in his first major league at bat. He lights the world on fire and then falls off a cliff. And then over the last 20 games or so, he's really brought some consistency back to his approach at the plate. He's been getting some big hits. Like today, he got a really big hit to tie the game at 1-1 to even bring it, close to extra innings. So neither here nor there, Yordan Alvarez comes up, crushes a homer, and then Carlos Correa hits a 2-run homer. All this in the 8th inning, and the Tigers lose that game they should have won. It's a crushing defeat because of really how good Mize was in the first game. And then, to be up 3-0 in the 8th, you have it perfectly set up. You're 4 outs away, and they blow the game. But that comes into today's game. And by the way, Matt Manning pitched. He pitched a little bit better. Only had 1 strikeout in his second start, but he went 5 innings again. I really would like to see his strikeouts come up a little bit. I was looking at his minor league numbers. So this year in Toledo, he hasn't been great, but if you look at his numbers in his last full season, 2019, he's a guy that averaged over a strikeout an inning. So he's been pitching to a lot of contact, and the reason why I'm a little bit skeptical of his continued success is he's been pitching to a lot of contact, and he's only had 4 strikeouts in 2 starts. You keep pitching to that much contact, and like I said, his start against the Angels, where there's so many hard hit balls, that he's just bound to be blown up at some point. I'd like to see a little bit more swing and miss, instead of, because no big leaguer it gets by on a 2K per 9. It doesn't happen in the big leagues. But I'd like to see him start strike out some more guys. His command's been pretty good. Like, he hasn't walked that many guys, but he's been giving up a lot of hard hit balls. But anyways, back to this game. So Akil Baddoo gets a big hit, ties it. Gregory Soto had a really good look. Him and Cisnero, actually, who's had a lot of problems with walks this year, he looked really good in the 8th. About 100-mile-an-hour fastball inside black. It looked like the Cisnero of last year. Gregory Soto had a clutch 9th and 10th inning. And Akil Baddoo gets on again. Akil Baddoo, was the last out of the 9th inning. He's on second base. Scope hits a piss seat up the middle. Of course, the shift's there. You guys already know my thoughts on the shift. The shift's there. Perfectly played. Throw him off. Well, although that really wasn't that much of a shift. They had him shade up the middle because you kind of have to play shaded up the middle on him because he's a pull middle hitter, and you don't want him to smack something through the middle. And he wasn't that far off. It's like a double play depth, so I can't even talk shit about that. I'll just shut the fuck up about that. But anyways, Baddoo gets on third, and Robbie Grossman, who's been struggling extremely a lot as of late, lays down a suicide squeeze and was perfectly executed. But the whole point of all this is how good has the Tigers been to watch? I mean, you go and look. So you look at their last month. You look at June. So they lose 3 of 4 to the White Sox. You expect that to start the month. After starting the month with a win against Milwaukee, they win a series against Seattle. They get swept by the White Sox, which you expect because the White Sox are probably the best team in the American League. Them and the Astros are tied. Then they sweep Kansas City, lose 3 of 4 to the Angels, sweep St. Louis, split with Houston, who is the hottest team in the American League coming into this series with a 10-game win streak, and now they're going to go to Cleveland. And I wish I did not have to work because I would take the drive up to Cleveland. That's about 3 hours away from me because I'm in Southern Ohio. I'm just outside of Dayton. I'd go up there and watch them play. But if the Tigers can go into Cleveland and take 2 of 3 to end the month, that would mean, so they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They would finish the month with 14 wins if they could take 2 of 3 from Cleveland, which would put them at another winning month, which they had last month. Are they going to make playoffs? No. Are they going to threaten for the division? No. Are they even going to be in the wild card discussion? No. But at least being able to see them play competitive baseball, to see them consistently in games no matter who the team is. Because, I mean, even if you go to the White Sox series, they lost the first game 1-4, so they were within striking distance. They lost the second game 8-9. They won the third game 4-3, and then lost. They got shut out the last game in the series. And then you look at the second time they played the White Sox. Lost the first game 4-5. The second game, I think this was the Urania start. They lost 15-2, and then lost 4-1. So even in the games they're losing, they're still in it. They're still within a 3-run homer and a grand slam distance, besides a couple of the ball. This month, I will say, compared to last month, they got their fucking asses handed to them in a few starts because they lost 15-2, and then they had a 12-3 loss and an 11-3 loss. So, but most of those, they were all Jose Urena starts. So it's not even like it's a collective whole. You literally had one pitcher all month pitch bad, which was Jose Urena, because Matt Manning has only allowed 3 earned runs in his 2 starts. Casey Mize has had a spectacular month. Tarek Skubal had one of his best starts of his career today. I think he had 8 or 9 strikeouts and looked fantastic. So at least we're able to watch this team this year. It's been fun. Like, I understand there's still this many games under 500 and we're not going to fight for anything, but it's about to be the All-Star break. And you look at the last couple years, the 100-loss plus seasons, like especially that 2018 year. By this time then, holy fuck, man. It's like the same as the Arizona Diamondbacks, who lost all those games. Like, the Arizona Diamondbacks are on pace to win 46 games this year. They're fucking terrible. They had that huge losing streak. And that's where the Tigers would be, a 20-win, 21-win team right now. But they're still, there's only 10 games, 11 games under 500. They've been floating between 11 and 9 games under 500, which isn't amazing, but at least they're watchable. They're in games. The games are close. They're not really getting their asses handed to them, and they're getting blown out every single game. And it's not fun to watch. And it's not like years prior when Gardenhire was here, when it was every game. I get to watch Jacoby Jones just struggle and have a once in a while good stretch. And when Jamer Candelario was constantly struggling, and he was up and down between the minors. And seeing guys like Ronnie Rodriguez get put out there. And Brandon Dixon was getting an opportunity to play baseball games in the Detroit Tigers uniform. It was really hard to watch because you'd watch this team and you knew they were going to be bad, and you know that none of these players that you're watching are going to be on the team to help you in the future, like Tyson Ross or Mike Fiers or Matt Moore, for a couple examples. You know they're not going to be on the team to help you win in the future. So watching these guys lose 116 games, 105 games, whatever they lost for those couple of 100-plus loss seasons for their couple years in a row, you're like, fuck, man, this is unbearable. They're not fun to watch. None of these guys are going to be here in the future to help the team win. It's none of your big-name prospects you're watching, and they're getting their asses handed to them more times than not. Not many of these games are competitive, because it used to be, I had a rule there, from like 2017 to 2019, I gave the Tigers to the 5th inning. If they were down by 5 or more runs going into the 5th, I wouldn't watch. But if they were only losing by 5 going into the 5th, I would watch. And I'm not even kidding you. That was my rule for watching the Tigers in that time span. Obviously, 2020, there was Casey Mize and Tarek Skubal made their debuts. So I had a couple games I would watch no matter what every single week. So that didn't really apply to that season. And it was a 60-game season, so I was trying to watch all the games I could because I missed baseball but we had the pandemic going on. But neither here nor there, at least right now, Skubal and Mize are pitching so well, and I'm really hoping to see Manning blossom into showing what he showed a little bit more in 2018 and 2019 with more of the strikeouts and being more of a power pitcher that he is, because I'm not even kidding. I'm not even saying this. I can't tell you how many things I've read and watched where they say Matt Manning, of the 3, had the best stuff of Skubal and Mize when it came to power stuff and command and strikeout stuff. A lot of people have said that about him in the minor league report. There was people, I remember when Mize was first year in the minor leagues, were saying like, hey, Manning doesn't get enough credit for what he has. So I'm hoping to see that translate in the big leagues a little bit more. But this year, I have nothing to complain about. It was rough from the start, but we're close in ball games. We're not getting our asses handed to them that much, I should say. You know, there's only been a couple games because Urena started that it's been brutal to watch. But they're fun. You're seeing these guys that are going to make impacts playing right now, and they're playing well. You know, our young pitching is looking great. You know, we don't even have Spencer Turnbull right now, and he's been really good this year. But before I finish this, I do want to say that guys like Jonathan Scope, you know, if Robbie Grossman can get hot and produce some trade value, don't get too attached to some of these guys that are contributors right now. Because these dudes that they got, like Scope and Grossman, if the Tigers can get something for them, let them go. Because there's no point of keeping them around if you're going to get something from them, like especially Scope. I want Scope to keep hitting 1 million home runs, and I want Scope to get traded for something decent because the Tigers aren't going to sign him long term, and he's going to walk. You might as well get at least something for him. So don't get too attached to guys like him and Grossman and whatnot, because if the Tigers can get something for him, let him go. And I really, really, really hope the Tigers trade Matt Boyd at the deadline. I hope Boyd can stay healthy enough and keep pitching like he's pitched so the Tigers can get something, because there's no point in signing him long term at his age and his ability. He's shown like so much inability of consistency from year to year. Like, you know, he had like 2018 and look how bad he was in like 2019 and 2020, like especially last year, and how much problems he's had with giving up home runs and stuff. I'm really happy, so it's great. But with this team, and you can finally see the pieces of the rebuild coming to fruition. Like, you know, Daz Cameron has had a really nice stint up here in his first 50 Major League at-bats for this season. And the way Derek Hill looked before he got hurt, and he's on his way back up because he's in Toledo and he's ripping it up. So he should be back here soon. There's just no point in keeping these guys that aren't going to be a part of the rebuild when you see it finally starting to come to fruition with this talent playing well, and they're coming up and they're making major league impacts. And like, you got Dingler down there who is looking really good. He's been destroying it. Torkelson's been destroying it. You know, Riley Green has looked really good. So those guys, those three are knocking on the big league door. Are they going to get there this year? I don't know. It would take a hell of a lot for those guys to debut this year. But next year, you know, if they have a really good year this year and they have a good spring and start out the year hot next year, there's a great chance we see Spencer Torkelson and Dingler up here in the big leagues, and Riley Green. I think Riley Green out of those three has the best shot of the three to make it to the big leagues and contribute this year, because I think how bad Nomar Mazara is, and, you know, Daz Cameron and Derek Hill are probably going to position, you know, their spots in the outfield, and it would be like a rotating thing. Grossman, Green, Cameron, Hill be your four outfielders. That would be really good, because I don't see Nomar Mazara making it on the Tigers the full year, because he can't hit at all. He has no power. He has nothing there. So if they can get something good for these guys like Scope and Boyd, and it doesn't even have to be amazing, just something that could potentially be a piece. And you're, like I said, you're not going to re-sign them. And with these guys, some of these position player guys now getting close, because before it was like, hey, wait till our pitching here. Now it's here. Now with some of our position guys down in the minor leagues getting ready and getting closer to being major league contributors, like our big three of pitchers is now. Let these guys go, man, because if you can get more pieces that can help those guys out, whether it's more pitching, whether it's more positional depth, which they need bats, honestly. Like, the Tigers need more minor league bats, because That's one thing they've lacked in developing, because they've had such a focus on pitching in some of these outfield bats. They were hoping that were going to be contributors earlier, like Derek Hill. It took him forever to get to the big leagues, and Cody Clemens I don't think is ever going to be as good as they hoped he was, and Daz Cameron, it took him a long time to get up to the big leagues, and hopefully he can be a contributor. And then Jake Rogers, you know, he's been hitting better so far this year, but it's not like he's as good as they said he was going to be. But, you know, Manning, Mize, and Skubal, especially Skubal and Mize, are pitching well. So they need more positional prospects. So if they could get some more bats for some of these guys like Matt Boyd, maybe another arm to help out with depth, like you would get someone, hopefully like Joey Wentz can help boost his stock, because Joey Wentz was actually a really highly touted guy that they got in that trade with Travis Demerit, who was a fucking waste of a piece. They just needed bodies, so that's the only reason why he got a shot in right field. But if they could get something, get some more positional prospects, get some bats, because they need some more minor league depth in the bats aspect of it. Fuck, I'm all for it, man. Because Torkelson, Dingler, and Green are looking great, but they're not here yet. They might not be here this year, but if they could get some more, and fuck, I'm all for it, because I'm really happy with what this team's been. I think us as Tiger fans, we should just be happy that we have a competitive team. Not a competitive team, but a watchable team. And we have prospects and guys who are touted that we're going to be the saviors of this team, blah, 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 are actually at least making somewhat of an impact, and they're not just falling flat on their face. So that's all I got for you guys this week. Not that long of a video, even though it's almost 22 minutes long. What do you guys think so far? Are you guys happy with this 2021 squad? You know what I mean? Are you happy with the performance of the prospects? Is there anyone you guys are waiting to see in the minor leagues come up? Like, is it Green? Is it Digler? Is it Torkelson? Let me know what you guys think so far, because I'm happy as hell. I'm really happy with how they've played the last 2 months. It's been fun. They've been competitive. They haven't got their ass handed to them that much. So that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know your thoughts. You guys happy or what? Have a good one.